Welcome to the channel, Optimize Every Day, where we're helping you to make a 1% change daily. Optimize every day. Welcome to our channel. So here is
Charlie.
And I'm Doug. And
the DNC.
Exactly. So yesterday we talked about a little bit about changes that we wanted to make. So how was your changes on trying to get...
I think my change was the first step that I was going to take in this new process that we're explaining and trying at the same time. My first step was to be more efficient, I think, in editing and stuff like that. And on day one, I really tried, and I was very inefficient because I kept running into problems. But overall,
But you were learning.
I was learning, and I think we made progress by not making progress. Right? The failures, I believe we got stronger through the failures, and we were able to work some new things out, which still contributes to the overall process. So I guess the message in that is that you can fail a little bit, take some, stumble back a little bit, and it just makes you stronger to go forward. So
absolutely,
that's what it looks like.
Absolutely, I agree with that. So on my end, getting more efficient on paperwork. Well, I ran into stumbling blocks on that. I allowed other things to get in my way.
Yep.
And those things getting in my way slowed me down. But I still got to it.
Yeah, distractions. So you at least got a piece done.
Something. I got something done. I got things written down in my notebook, and I got things started. Still have a lot to go. The day is getting away from me, so need to get better at getting on top of it faster. So my new direction is to get at it earlier in the day so that I'm getting at it. And then that way, if I get distracted about other things, at least I get more done. So I am still working on that improvement, but I got to it. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it seems like, on the overall view, looks like, well, we failed at our first step, right? It kind of looks like we failed. But actually, I think it's actually success because just like we talked about yesterday, we took that first step. You're not going to run the mile on the first day. When you start running, you might go do 5 minutes, and you just explained, hey, at least I got it in. I got some of this in.
Right, exactly.
And it's a part of my day. I made it early. I planned on making it early so I could get some in. And maybe by the end of the night, more can get in, and we can do more this week. So I think it's success. Starting the right way is starting.
So, we talked, and, we gave that running analogy, and that went really well. But there's other aspects of this. And sometimes, making behavioral changes in ourselves is who we hang with and what we're doing that impacts that. There is some statistics on Vietnam War veterans where it was like, if I remember, and I'd have to go check for sure, but if I remember, it was 70-something% of the military personnel in Vietnam during the 60s, during that war, over 70% were using heroin. So when these guys came home from being in Vietnam and came back to the United States and were no longer deployed in the war zone, it was found that only 12% of those using heroin continued their addiction here in the United States. So, we're looking at what the difference was. And obviously, it was more than access to the heroin, because heroin is available here and you can get to it.
You spell heroin.
Herio.
I'm not good at spelling.
An IONE.
He's not good at spelling.
Yeah, I spell
We're
it
spelling
just
drugs. We don't
fine.
even know how to spell the drugs. You know what I'm talking about?
Heroin recovery. HEROIN.
I knew that.
So anyway, those guys came back from Vietnam, and only a small percentage of those guys continued their addiction to heroin. Difference being is now you have them out of that environment where a lot of soldiers were using heroin, and they're back with their families, and they don't want to show their families that they're addicted.
Yeah.
So now they have a reason to not use
clean up, yeah.
and clean up, and they did.
And they something that's important that makes me think about is when people switch their addictions. Sometimes there's been times in my own life where I've been addicted to many different things that weren't good for me. And I would find myself in a situation where I say, hey, I found a technique that was switching my addiction. I'd be addicted to one thing, and then I'd tell myself, well, hey, I'm going to get back addicted to fishing, right? So to where this takes over this space in my life, and it actually works. Try it if you're facing addiction. Try switching your addiction. But some of the people that would come back, from overseas at war, whatever, you're doing drugs over there or whatever it may be. It may be sexual addiction to women over there, because men that travel often run into that. And when you come back to the States, you're around your family in a situation, and you might switch to alcohol. So you're switching from one bad thing to another thing, but it looks a little better. I just drink a lot because I went to war. I'm not a druggie, right?
Right.
And so some people do that. So it's pretty interesting how, they can deal with it coming back.
So when we look at our addictions and changing behaviors and making that 1% change every day, we need to, know what we're looking at, because some addictions are going to and habits are going to be easy to change. You have a reason, and there's a reason that makes it easy to get off of it, because now it's not attractive to have that addiction. Whereas, an alcohol addiction, that's a lot harder to kick in this country, because it's
legal.
It's legal.
And alcohol's everywhere.
And it's everywhere. And it's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So you go from something that's socially acceptable and not a problem to suddenly becoming an alcoholic, and then it's no longer socially acceptable, except it's still socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And it's confusing in your head and whatever else.
Yeah, because it's hard for people to see your addiction, even the people around you at work or at home. It's hard for people to see your addiction to alcohol unless you really mess something up. You wreck your car, you lose your job because you went in there and did. Then they can see it. Then it's a problem. And that's why they say, I think, with alcoholism as an addiction, that, well, how do you know you're alcoholic? It is the effect. One person can drink a keg of beer a day and they live their life perfectly, so technically they're not alcoholic. But then another person drinks one beer and they wreck their car and they're abusive. Well, they're never alcoholic. It's just the weirdest thing.
But the guy who drinks a keg of beer, if he misses a day, he doesn't care. Whereas the alcoholic, if he misses that one beer, he misses that beer.
He really misses it.
He has to have that beer.
He's fully addicted to it.
So, in looking at behavior change, again, if you want to kick the habit of being, once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. But if you want to stop drinking, you have to decide, hey, I'm not going to drink for the next hour. And then when you get to that hour, then you say, I need to stop drinking for the next hour. And you have to take it an hour at a time. And if an hour is too long, you got to take it down to 15 minutes. Or maybe that's too long and do it down to every 5 minutes. But the goal is making it that little bit of time before you sit there and go, I'm going to have another drink. And then you have an accountability person. And when you get to that point where you're just going, I'm so stressed. I am so in dire need of a drink. You can call a buddy and say, hey, I really feel like I need a drink. You need to talk me down. And that accountability coach is somebody who can help you achieve your 1% improvement goals. Because just like us here talking, we both came up with a little 1% that we're going to do better on. And, Charlie here, he failed in a portion of what he was trying to do.
Yeah, on multiple portions of it.
But it wasn't a total failure because A, he started, and B,
the goal,
he tried.
Yeah, and the goal was to be efficient. So my lack of efficiency taught me how to be more efficient. So actually, we achieved the goal by failing. It's such an amazing thing,
We're failing up.
Yeah, we're failing upwards. That's the key here. Fail upwards.
And like me, I got to get to my computer, and it's like, oh, I gotta. No, I can't. And I failed a little bit, but I got to my paperwork. I started my paperwork. I looked into it. I got to the web pages I needed to get to. I got paperwork started. Now, did I get as much done as I wanted to? Well, no. But I got it started. So now, between now and tomorrow, now I need to do a little bit more. I know this is important to me. So now I'm trying to replace one bad habit with another, or a bad habit with a good habit. We're not necessarily wanting to replace bad habit with bad habits unless the other bad habit is better than the old bad habit. But our goal is to be 1% better every day. So we have that capability, and us being accountable to each other is just going to make it that much easier.
Yeah.
So there is, it's not an individual fight. We have somebody in our corner.
Yeah, especially for the people in today's society, we have a big problem with so many people becoming individualistic and antisocial. So people don't help people as much anymore. So it's hard to have even family members. You'll have siblings that are distant. You might have 4 siblings and you ain't talked to them in 8 years, right? And so they're not even really there in your life to help you as much as we would imagine we used to be. And so it's good to find people, find groups, find ways to get that extra push, that help, that accountability that we're talking about.
It's kind of like you see these little bicycle clubs and they ride down the street.
Yeah.
And, these guys are trying to always get better. And so they have a person riding at front, and then the guy in the back, as soon as he gets into the back, his job is to bike to get to the front. And then they each start slowly sliding back because the guy in the back is racing to the front.
Right.
And while you're in the middle, you're kind of coasting a little bit, knowing that, hey, you're going to have to race to the front. But you're doing it as a team, as a group. And in the end, everybody makes it over the finish line of whatever finish line that is that you're looking at. And, then everybody's a success, not just you. So it's a personal victory,
right? A
team victory.
Yeah, it's a measured team effort,
Yeah.
And that's how humans are. In what I believe and what I've seen, I really feel that humans are built to help each other, to be around each other. So this system that we're currently involved in,
very much social animals.
We're social animals. We're built to build in teams. Nothing really great gets done without it. And I just I think it's important for your individual success, if you are selfish and very individual, to get with other people and help them towards success. And it's the best way to get you to where you're trying to go.
Right. The synergies build on each other.
Build on each other. Strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers. You try and break a bundle of sticks all in a big old group, it's going to be a lot harder than trying to break one twig.
Right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. By yourself, you can walk to the next state if you really try hard enough. But with the group, you can make it to the moon or something, right? You need the right amount of people, the right amount of steps per day and work. It's just amazing what you can do when you collaborate.
But again, we have to put those sneakers on, and we
Yeah.
have to walk out that door.
Yeah, you got to want to take those steps.
And we've got to build that habit first of walking out the door.
Yeah.
And, once you walk out the door, then
Anything can happen that day.
then you can sit there and go, well, I'm going to turn around and walk back in. Or you can say, well, I'm already out the door, so I'm going to
Right.
go 20, 30 steps and turn around and come back home. And that'll, eventually get you to the point where you're running that 20, 30 steps. And
Exactly.
it makes it so much easier. And then it's not a pain because nobody wants to hurt. And because when, like you said yesterday in our comments, when you go out and run that mile and you haven't run a mile in forever, you get done with that mile and you're hurting. The goal here is to make behavior change that doesn't hurt. We're trying to make small incremental changes that will build our personal fibers, just as if we're a tree. And when we go up and we expand our capabilities, we're just adding another band of strength. And then we go another day and expand and build another band of strength. And suddenly we're to that point where now our lung capacity is increased because we're walking more and we're going further. And then that improves because obviously we've been exercising more. And the exercise becomes easier and easier. So we're exercising a different set of muscles, the brain muscles.
The brain.
And we're trying to get our neurotransmitters to fire and create new habits that are long-lasting habits. Because you know how easy it is to lose a habit.
Yeah.
Especially a good habit.
Yeah. The good ones tend to go away easier.
Yeah, and a bad habit comes in real quickly behind it.
Yeah, it does. If you don't, I think like we talked about yesterday, it's about if there's space for it. If you fill your life with so many good habits, you don't have much room for bad ones, right? Because you're so busy with the good ones. So I think it's about filling the space, taking the capacity that you have as a human and filling that with good things, and doing things today that your future self will thank you for, right?
Yep.
If you do a lot of bad habits today, your future self's going to be really upset with your past self. And they're right. It's like, what are you doing? What were you thinking? It's going to ask, right?
And as you get older, if you don't exercise and do those things to keep your strength up, you lose that strength.
Yeah, you're going to lose it. Yeah.
And if you're not mentally using your mind, your brain will start atrophying.
That's right.
You need to be using.
You have to exercise that ability power every day.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you what else. Maybe you can rest on Sunday. Maybe not every day. But I tell you, I like how you talked about power a minute ago. Even in the political realm, right? For you guys out there that are politically ambitious, things like that. In order to get there, to get to where you're really trying to go, first thing you have to do is like the running and everything else we've talked about. You have to step out politically. You have to go out and actually campaign for yourself in that realm,
Absolutely.
right? And then you have to, like we say, the teamwork. You have to build the connections and the partnership. You have to make your network of these political allies, right?
That's absolutely
yeah.
correct.
So your network is your net worth. When it comes to these things, and that's not just in that realm. It's in every realm of your life. The people you deal with, like you said earlier, the people you surround yourself with, if they're ambitious people, you're going to have to get caught up in that group or they're going to kick your ass out. They're going to get you out of there. If you're not ambitious with us, you're not a part of this group. If you're not trying to step out politically with us, you're not a part of this group.
It's like investing. There's actually physical groups that go in and invest. And when you come to your little group meeting, you need to bring your $100 to show that you're willing to invest some money And a lot of them, it's between $100 and $1,000, and they meet like 3 times a week, and they expect you to bring that amount of money. But you're learning how to invest. The team members, they teach you how to do various different things, and suddenly you're in a group that's very wealthy. So you have to be willing to agree to the terms of the groups that you want to be in that will get you to where you want to be. Because behavior change is not just a goal. Behavior change, it helps you achieve your goals. Behavior change is a social thing.
Yeah.
It puts you in a position where you can meet people who have like type of identities, like type of likes, similar attributes in what they're trying to accomplish. You know, maybe that's you want to work in a botanical garden and be the docent and walk people around and show them the various different.
What is a docent?
A docent? It's the person who walks you through the garden and explains what everything is.
I just learned something new through my networking connection here, because I didn't know what a docent was. That's cool.
You're going to learn a lot of big words from me because I got lots of them.
Oh my goodness.
And hopefully this is teaching you something new as well. So we're here to help us grow 1% a day. And hopefully that means that you're taking from us and building on your 1% a day and becoming 1% better. Yeah. So, what do we say? We need to get them to what? I remember the words like and subscribe.
Like, share. Share, subscribe, and comment.
And comment. Comments are expected. As I said yesterday,
good and bad.
I'm going to be
Tell me about how ashy my skin is today. How I need to make that my first step. Or maybe I need to shave, but working on a character, so I can't shave.
But anyway, I will be checking the comments because I will reply to comments. And if we can be your little helper coach while you find that person who can be the person that helps you out on this journey, then we're happy to do it. Again, like, share, and subscribe, and we shall see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Peace.